How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to Rams Revealed, presented by Sleep Number, the official sleep and wellness partner of the NFC West champion Los Angeles Rams. I'm your host, JB Long, and we're pleased this week to be joined by a first-time guest in his second professional season, a 23-year-old from Division II Wingate, Rams punter Ethan Evans. Thanks for being here.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
All right, I got to know, how did you spend your Sunday? Were you scoreboard watching?
Me and my buddy were at the golf course, and we had the kind of like the split screen on our phones pulled up the whole time we were playing. We kept up with all the games, and then we were able to get home in time to watch the Commanders game, which they kept it interesting for sure. They kept it down to the wire.
All right, so I'm an avid golfer, and distracted golf either goes one or two ways. Either it's the worst you've ever played, or you're like draining, whole ass from the fairway.
It was the worst ever.
It was okay. All right. Yeah. Well, we'll skip the golf and go right to the football. How does it feel to be 2 for 2 in your NFL career, making the postseason?
Feels awesome, man. Playoff football in the NFL is a whole different ball game. The crowd, the pressure, everything is just different. It makes, the adrenaline rush you get from it is like nothing else. So that's really cool. Does it feel a little different this time being an NFC West champion, knowing you're going to have a home game in the playoffs? Yes, it does. Home playoff game or home games here in LA are awesome. Thank God we ain't got to go to Detroit in January.
Yeah, it was pretty frigid. I'd like to go back, though. If the circumstances play out that way, we shall see. What is the biggest stadium you've ever played in before SoFi Stadium? I mentioned you're from a D2 school. Mm-hmm. What was the home venue for the Bulldogs like?
There would probably be about 2,000 people at the games, but the biggest game I played in my college career was our rivalry game against Lenore-Ryan. Our last year, they built a new stadium, and our last game there, my senior year, there's probably 16,000 people there. Great. Yeah, it was awesome atmosphere.
But suffice it to say, there's been like training camp workouts where there have been more people in attendance than some of your college home games. How'd you find Wingate, or did Wingate find you?
So that's a really interesting story. So my summer before going into my senior year of high school, me and my grandpa took a massive road trip. We started in Florida and we ended in Syracuse, New York. Traveled for about a month and a half. We were driving back from University of South Carolina, and we saw this sign off 77 that said Wingate University. So I got home and looked it up. Was like, does Wingate University have a football team? And sure enough, they did. And 2 days later, they were having a camp. So I was like, well, I might as well just go give it a shot. Went down there, did really well at the camp, and Coach Reich offered me my first full scholarship. It was the only scholarship I got. I had a couple of preferred walk-ons before then, but gave me a scholarship, and about a week later I committed and went and played at Wingate.
That is so cool. If I had told you, Ethan, in that moment, like you're Googling and I step in, I say, you're going to be punting in the NFL someday, how would that have landed on you?
I probably would think you were lying, because going into college, I wasn't really a punter. I was more of a field goal kicker and kickoff specialist, and I kind of did punting in high school just because we needed it. We didn't have a punter. But once I got to Wingate, Coach Reich was like, I really think you could be really good at punting. So once I got into college, that's when I really started focusing on it, and I just kept getting better and better each year. And, thank God he told me I'd be good at punting. So.
Right. All right, so that's one transition you've made in life. What about from your hometown of Lowgap, North Carolina to Los Angeles? How big of a culture shock is that?
It was really big. Lowgap's got probably about 100 people in it. It's a really small we're at the base of the mountains, the Blue Ridge Mountains. Literally, if you walk 2 minutes down the road from my house, you'll be in Virginia. So it's a small little mountain town. And then I come out here and it's 10 million people. The cities, you can drive for 3 hours and you're still in Los Angeles. It was a really big culture shock, but the weather out here is awesome. Fans are awesome. The scenery out here is just unbelievable. I didn't expect it. I thought it was going to be like concrete buildings and everything, but then once I was driving through the valleys and everything, I saw the mountains, I was like, oh, this kind of feels like home. So yeah, it was really cool.
What's the defining feature of Lowgap for those of us who might not ever be able to visit?
Oh gosh, that's easy. There's a small little convenience store called Daddy Sam's, and they have the best food you'll ever have. It's just like you walk in, you're like, I might get food poisoning from this place, but no, they got good burgers, hamburger steaks, just good old Southern food. And I go and eat there pretty often in the off season.
Do they have merch? They have swag that we can?
No, they don't.
Oh, okay.
They should hop on that. I might mention it to them.
I think you can lead that. Absolutely. We'll circle back to the place kicking because I'm fascinated by that, but I want to get into like the punter conversation, if you will. Okay. Because it's rare that we get to nerd out in the kicking game on this show. And I think now's a great time to do it. Can a punter be on a heater? Like we see Matthew Stafford go into like dark mode, but can a punter be in that space? Because it seems like you are right now.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, every athlete has that moment where they just kind of get in the zone, and it's like they can't miss, like a golfer or Stafford or like Kobe Turner when he's getting off blocks. Like there's just some games like guys are just like in the zone. It's just them and whoever they're going up against. And I feel like it's the same way with punting. There's just some days the ball just flies different off your foot. And, I feel like I've been hitting it really, really well this season. Last year, I was pretty happy with how I did, but me and Chase Blackburn talked about, okay, instead of punting the ball 90 yards, let's tone it down and try to see if we can just play like little games of darts. Like, okay, if we want it here, let's put it there. Just placement. And I feel like that was a big improvement from last year. Just putting the ball inside the 20 or on the sideline where we need to go.
That's the word, improvement. I hope you don't mind if I think of you as one of, if not the most improved Rams. Like I hope you take that as a compliment, the spirit in which is intended. You agree with that? Okay. I've got you second in the league in punts inside the 20 by percentage. Only 2 touchbacks and 53 punts this year. You've added 3 yards to your net punt average. What's the most important stat for a punter? Does any of that matter to you? Like what are you tracking?
Probably net average is the most important. Like average is really cool and all, but what does it look like after returners return the ball? Like, because you can hit a 70-yard punt, but then they can return it for 50 yards, and in reality, it's just a 20-yard punt. So that's what we worked on. We were like, okay, let's try to make our net average as close to our average as we can this year, and we'll just give our defense the best field position they can.
So then shout out to your gunners, right?
Xavier
Smith, Jordan Whittington. They've had some great moments these last couple of weeks.
Yeah, Xavier Smith last game. He did some pretty badass stuff.
Do you like celebrating those moments with them? Like you get a nice sprint down to congratulate them and give them a helmet tap.
Oh yeah. Once if I pin a ball inside the 5 and, X makes, a catch like he did last year, or they're diving in the end zone and batting it back, the whole world kind of goes dark and I'm just kind of doing whatever my body's doing, just yelling, screaming, going up, tapping them on the helmet. And it's an awesome experience. All
right. So the real reason you're on the show is against the Cardinals. We got to know what happened on that shank, excuse the language.
Yeah.
But more importantly, the illegal blindside block, the miscommunication there by the officials that left us going to commercial thinking, how did you get a flag for that hit?
It wouldn't surprise me if the TV copy of my face after they called it on me turns into a meme. Because I was just like what just happened? But no, the shank, I mean, we were trying to pin it to the sideline because Greg Dortch is a really good returner. And I was just trying to hit like a 50-yard ball out of bounds. And it still went 47, but I definitely could have hit a better ball. But yeah, the blindside block, I have no idea. I honestly have no idea. I was in no man's land. Like there was nobody within 20 yards around me. And I got to the sideline. And I was talking to Chase, like, yeah, it wasn't my best hit. And then all of a sudden, ref comes on. He's like, blindside block on the kicking team, number 42. And I was just like, like I didn't touch anybody. And Chase was like, no, it's on the other. Yeah, it was crazy.
And then the great broadcaster, Rich Eisen, who's on the NFL Network call, is going to commercial being like, we got to get Pat McAfee on to break this down for us. I'm sure that made its rounds across your friend circle and social media.
Yeah, I got to my phone after the game and there was about 30 messages like, no way, you got a blindside block? Like that's kind of cool. I'm like, no, I didn't get a blindside block. Like Pat McAfee tweeted it and everything before they came back and said like, hey, we messed up. It was on the other team. But yeah, it was interesting for sure.
But for the sake of Pat and his show, if there was a punter in the league to get a sweet blindside block and a personal foul, I think you're the leading candidate.
Oh yeah, for
sure.
Like
you got the toolkit to go do that
for sure. Yeah.
All right, maybe down the road, not in a must-win game.
Yeah, not in a must-win game. Yeah.
Let's get to the kicking operation, because when I say that, I give you a compliment, I think you're one of the most improved Rams. I in part mean that as you're a proxy for the entire kicking operation, because you're involved in just about every element of it. Let's jump around the room a little bit, because Alex Ward, the long snapper, was injured, as we know, about a year ago, last December. And I think we all really felt his absence. What's it been like? How important has his return been to the success in 24?
Oh, it's awesome. I mean, we spent all OTAs and pre-draft training together, so we kind of know each other's timings, and it makes it super easy. And plus, he's a really, really good snapper. I mean, on field goals, I don't have to worry about, a ball going over my head or just getting back on the ground. I just know it's going to be right where it needs to be every time. And then on punt, I mean, his blocking has just gotten so much better. And then his snap location on punt is always on the money. Coverage is really good. He fills the lanes in and makes sure, the return doesn't have a lane to get down. It's really awesome having him back this season.
And then you add Joshua Karty into the mix, and you and Josh actually used to train together. So you had a pre-existing relationship from back in Charlotte. Tell us about that. Yeah,
so we trained together in high school. We knew of each other. He actually grew up in Greensboro. That's like 30, 40 minutes from my hometown. So we grew up not too far from each other, and we trained together in high school. We knew of each other, and we had talked a little bit, but we weren't like really, really close friends. But, I knew how he kicked, his timing and everything before the draft. And then once we drafted him, I was like, oh, okay, sweet. Like, I know exactly what this guy likes and his timing and everything.
Ethan, what's a weekly regimen look like for your group? Like, you're out at practice doing what besides, goofy ball tricks and like playing bocce? Like, how do you get ready for game week, especially week 18 against the Seahawks?
The specials, we just try to keep it low key. Like, we go out and we lock in for our 15 minutes of practice, whether it's punt team or field goals or kickoff, whatever. We just try to keep our minds, clear. Kicking is you take your 2 steps and you kick the ball, and hopefully it goes where you want it to go. We just try to keep our minds clear and just keep everything simple. Don't think about it too much. Just keep it low key, have a good time, and just go out and do what you got to do.
How are you working to improve your role as a holder, especially because that's right at the center of the guys that we're talking about?
Yeah, I mean, I did all 3 in college, so that was a big question coming into the draft last year. Was he did all 3 in college, he didn't really hold that much, and plus he hasn't played in front of 80,000 people. Like, how's he going to handle the pressure holding? Came into OTAs last year, and I was out there with a jugs machine every morning doing 500 to 600 holds a day. Chase really put me through the ringer on holding. He's out there spinning balls out of his hands, sending them high, low, left, right, opposite spins, like everything, just making sure that I'm good. But I still go out there every day, get 50 holds a day before practice, and then field goal period, and then pregame I'm doing holds before Josh is ready to go. You can never be too good of a holder. You can always get better.
Yeah, but I mean, on the spectrum of punters, you got to be on the more athletic end. You strike me as someone who played multiple sports, other things growing up.
Yeah,
got some hand-eye coordination.
Yeah, I did some wrestling, did some boxing with my dad, played soccer for however many years it was. Did track and field. I was actually a thrower in track and field. I didn't run. And I was going to do track and field at Wingate as well, but I was like, I should probably focus on football a little bit more.
Good decision. That paid off.
It did.
How high do you think your upside is in this league? You think you got all pro potential as a punter?
I believe I do, yeah. I think, after this season, I'm going to go into this off season, continue to improve, and I think I really do have potential to be all pro, Pro Bowl, all of that, because that was one of my main goals coming in. Like, I don't want to come into the NFL and finish my career, and I don't want people to be like, oh, that's cool, like he played 10 years in the league. Like, when I hang up the cleats, I want people to say like, oh yeah, like he was one of the best to ever do it. Plus, filling for Johnny Hekker, I mean, it's one of the greatest punters of all time. I was like, I got some big shoes to fill, and I'm going to do my best to do it.
Now, he's a legend in this organization. How much is he a legend in your subset, your community, for what he does on and off the field, and the person that he is?
Yeah, Johnny's an awesome dude. He's hilarious, but he's an awesome dude. Great athlete, great punter. I mean, probably the greatest throwing arm in punting history. But no, he's awesome, dude. Everybody, everybody in the punting community holds him really high. Some call him the GOAT. He's one of my GOATs for sure.
He had a duck on the field or something, didn't he? Yesterday, I don't know if you saw that one. Animal of a different type. How's your arm, by the way?
Oh, it's not the best.
No,
not the best. It's nowhere near Johnny's level.
So don't go looking for that. What about that background as a place kicker yourself? How is that helpful to understanding where Karty is coming from, what he prefers, what his needs are?
Yeah, it was really important because I understand how important, the lean of the ball is on holds, or how important it is to hit the spot, or if, the wind's doing every which way, I know how to lean it to make the ball kind of play through the wind a little bit better. But it was really important because in college I didn't have the best holder. It was our backup long snapper. So at Wingate, it was kind of like, okay, I'm going to catch it and put it down wherever it is. So I understood like how important it was to hit the spot and lean and everything.
Now that you've seen NFL place kicking up close, I'm sure you had a conception being in that role yourself in college, like how hard it is. But at this level, like how differentiated is that skill set?
I mean, these place kickers in the NFL are just different animals. Like, I see them hitting 70-yard field goals like they're PATs, and I'm just like, holy cow. Like, when I was in college, if I hit a 50-yarder, I was like jumping up and down, and these guys are hitting 70 yards. I'm like, oh yeah, it wasn't my best hit. But no, I mean, it's pretty much the same. Just, holding wise and everything, just, keeping it simple and just going through it.
But wait a second, you can mash a kickoff out the back of the end zone, no problem. Why isn't your range 70 yards too?
My contact on field goal is just terrible.
Oh, okay.
I just smoke the ground before I even hit the ball. And yeah.
What do you think of this dynamic kickoff? It seems like your mission is mostly just to bang it out the back of the end zone. I think it's like 84% so far.
Yeah, me and Chase were talking. We were like, our defense can play just as good defense as the 30-yard line as they can from the 25-yard line. Okay. So we were like, 5 yards is not a big deal. So we were just like, yeah, just keep making touchbacks.
It's got to feel like smashing a 300-yard drive down the middle of the fairway though, when you get to tee it up and just let it rip, huh?
Yeah, you got a little breeze at your back too.
Oh, that's nice.
And you're like, oh yeah, this ball's going out the back.
All right, Ethan, time now for the wind down presented by Sleep Number. Each week here on Rams Revealed, we get a player's perspective on how rest and recovery impacts performance in the National Football League. We'll take your unique skill set in a different direction for this segment because we know you're a weight room hero. What's the latest from the training facility? Any new personal best that you've been working on?
No, not during the season, because after last year, once that squat video I went viral, Sean was like, okay, like, that's pretty cool, but like, our punter doesn't need to be squatting 600 pounds. But no, in season I just kind of maintain. In the off season I kind of push it a little bit. But no new personal bests so far.
All right, so Sean, we know he's not on social media, but someone brought him like your deadlifting clip. And
oh no, he brought it up in the team meeting last year.
Tell us more.
He pulled up the 585 squat video, and he looks at Coach Lovett, and he goes, "No, Lovett, like, why is our punter squatting 600 pounds?" And Lovett just looks at me, goes, "Big squats, big kicks." And he's like, "Touche, my friend."
Oh, that's great. I love it. No rest, I assume, for the specialists in Week 18. It's just you guys, right? You're going to be going out there to play the Seahawks. Can you give us a preview of the regular season finale?
I think it's going to be a great opportunity for the other guys to go out there and show what they got. And, hopefully it's the same game as last year with, all the backup guys at San Fran, just getting hyped for them and everything. It's really cool to go out there, to let the backup guys go out there and have a blast and just go do what they got to do.
Yeah, good to know this isn't the last game we'll play at SoFi Stadium this season, but for those who have been waiting in the wings, be it in a reserve role or a practice squad role, how meaningful is this rep for them? How excited are you to see some of your teammates get a chance to shine?
Oh, it's awesome because I see the amount of work they put in at practice and in the weight room and everything. And it's, it's a great opportunity for them to see all that work pay off and for them to just go out and have a blast and play in front of the Rams fans and, keep it in our house.
Yeah. Congratulations on a great second season. Much more to come. Wish you all the best. Thank you for coming by. And remind me the convenience store in Lowgap, North Carolina.
Daddy Sam's.
Daddy Sam's. To all of you watching back in the Carolinas, and a shout out to Daddy Sam's for Ethan. I'm JB Long. This is Rams Revealed, the home of your NFC West champions in 2024, presented by Sleep Number.